So, in the beginning of the year, when I was coming to, I was coming to Malta to see my friend, and just before I was talking to a friend and asking if I actually should worry about something, about regarding this new virus and everything, and we were, we thought that it's not really much worse than a flu, and just usual precautions and what can possibly go wrong, kind of thing. And so I went to Malta. Everything is normal, and the only thing was happening when I took a flight to south of Italy after that. This light is horrible, but that's all I have. Sorry. So I went to south of Italy, and they were checking at the airport. There were guys with like the whole protective outfits with masks and stuff, and they were checking us for temperature. And for me, it was kind of weird and funny, and I was sort of laughing because it looked for me like they just try to make it bigger than it really is, and just trying to spread the fear. And why from Malta of all places, It's not like we were coming from China anyway. So few weeks went by, and then I was leaving. I was leaving. I was actually supposed to be in the south of Italy, and then I was supposed to go to north of Italy to see a friend, and then I was trying to find a way to Spain, but the flights weren't really convenient, and I decided to stay longer in the south of Italy, and then I was going to south of Spain, and then already at the airport I saw that there were more and more people with masks, and still I was kind of laughing, and I was taking a picture with a friend, and I was kind of saying, like, if you could just catch these guys with masks in the background. Yeah, that was stupid. And anyway, I was, just laughing at people being, panicking and being overreacting. And so I came to south of Spain, and I came to Sevilla, and then I went to Cordoba, and I came to Malaga, and to Ronda, and Granada. And the first time when I came to Granada, I wasn't really, like, I already knew Sevilla, but the other places I kind of, except Ronda, that was like totally, I fell in love with Ronda, but I wasn't that pleased with the whole trip, and I felt like, oh, maybe I should have just stayed in Italy. At the time I was really worried as well about Brexit, about how we miss Brexit right now. But I was worried about Brexit, about future in general. I was worried about my health coverage because, the whole healthcare systems in different countries, and how I'm gonna do it, because I was gonna go to Prague for a year, and things. I just had to figure out the whole new way of how to organize myself. And I was also thinking for the future, where do I want to move, because I felt like I have to move from UK, and just all sorts of, it was very very stressful, very chaotic, and I was very overwhelmed with all the kind of information and things I had to process, and taxes and health systems, and I couldn't make up my mind where I want to live, and what's going to happen, how am I going to move my stuff. In the meantime, it occurred that I had to move in UK, and I couldn't be there on time, and things had to happen without me, and it was also very stressful. So anyway, these were my problems at the time, and I was thinking about that. And I don't even know how it happened that suddenly things started feeling and being a bit more, like before you would think of it being very far, and suddenly like this threat kind of came over us. I don't even know. Of course, I was doing my thing and not really paying attention to the news, because news are always big news and there's always something scary happening, and I tend to take everything in, and I try to limit myself of how much I'm processing and following the news, because it's very stressful. So I was in south of Spain, and I came to Granada, and my first feeling was, after being a bit disappointed and thinking I should have stayed in Italy, I thought, like, after first, I only booked 2 nights here, and first impulse was, I need another night here. And then after that night, I needed another night, and then I decided, okay, I'll stay till the end of the week. And I had other plans after that, and I had a week in Madrid already booked, and I wish I hadn't, and to the point that I wish even I didn't have any plans after that, because I just wanted to stay in Granada. I was completely in love and enchanted and inspired, and I couldn't get enough. And I didn't even see that much during that time, which for me is unusual, because I always, explore everything very quickly. But I still haven't seen a lot, and because I was just kind of living, just kind of doing my things, and even walking the same kind of route around was just making me happy, and just watching the sunset and eating out in my favorite place and things like that. So I felt like I have to stay here longer. Well, now I am staying longer, and I remember my mother called me, and she was worried what the hell is going on, what's happening with this virus and everything, and I was kind of like, she's always worrying about something, and I just kind of dismiss her, like, dismiss the whole thing. Really, like, here in south of Spain, we do not worry about such things. Here, everybody is chilling, we just carry on with our lives, and it's all blown out of proportion. And suddenly, I don't know how it happened, but I was still in Granada, of course, and I was gonna go to Madrid, but like, I started hearing voices that things are shutting down. I think at the time Italy was perhaps already under quarantine, but I think, and I was thinking, like, oh well, what a relief I'm not in North Italy right now, because I could have been locked in Italy. And I was gonna go to Madrid, but I started hearing that they start slowly, cancelling things and locking things, and I really didn't want to get locked in Madrid. But I had a flight to take after that to France, and I was gonna see my friend who still was coming, and I didn't want to let him down. We had things planned, and I would feel terrible if he came all the way here, and I would just say sorry, but it's kind of dangerous right now, and because I know that he would never let me down in anything, so I would feel terrible to do that. Although I was not sure it's a good idea altogether for him to come, but at the time it was still, things were still happening, and it didn't feel, I was even talking with friends in Madrid, and although things were kind of, fucking hell, I feel like I'm really blabbing right now, but things still didn't look so extreme, okay, it slows down a bit, but museums were still open, you could still do your stuff. And but I was gonna cancel this trip in Madrid, and I decided to go anyway. But the next day, when I I have trouble kind of realizing the timeline of all this because it's been all kind of happening at once. In the meantime, my friend canceled his trip um, because they were also limiting them. I don't know if he wasn't allowed to fly anymore. So, and I had a bad feeling at the same day. Like I couldn't bring myself to go to the station because to be locked in Madrid would be much worse for me to be locked than to be locked in Granada. Much more expensive as well. And to be honest, I don't know where I would end up now because things are closing completely. Hotels, hostels, everything is closing. So yeah, I didn't go to Madrid. I stayed in Granada, and I was struggling to make up my mind whether to catch a plane to UK or not. And it was quite stressful because on one hand my impulse was to go home, to go to whatever is closest to home for me, being a nomad, and wherever I have my my life happening. So my first impulse was to go to UK, but at the same time airports are chaos. I don't know, at the moment I don't think anything is flying to UK anyway, but airports were chaos, flights were chaos because they were closing, they were cancelling all the flights. You never knew which flight was going to happen and which wouldn't. And I was afraid to spread the thing. I wasn't feeling well anyway. It was very difficult, and of course I didn't want to pass anything to my friends in UK, like the airport seems like just the worst place to be right now. So I was struggling, but I decided to stay because I'm relatively safe here, and now I'm here, and I'm in a hostel with 3 other people, so it's not like we're crowded here. It's very weird. It's very weird, unusual for everyone, I guess. Whoever, wherever you find yourself right now, it must be weird. I think maybe it's different for people on the countryside and different for people in the city. But here now we are exactly like Italy. Everything is locked down. You only can go out for essentials, and you have to explain yourself to police if you're going somewhere. And apparently they also remember you if they see you too many times on the street, as my friend told me. So it's been weird.